Hey guys, what is up? I am back with another video of my unfiltered professional wrestling experience. My name is Khan, and for the guys who have just joined or are new to this, I'm the anarchist of professional wrestling. Now, 27th of September 2019, it was the first ever QPW Academy show. Now, this was planned way back of summer in 2019, which was, I think, June or August, and it really didn't came to be until the very last second, which was 3 weeks before the actual show. So during this time period, I was actually in Pakistan, um, celebrating Eid holidays with my family, and I was just staying in contact with the people of QPW through WhatsApp groups. And eventually, one day, I had woken up to messages that were being spammed in the group of like, "Oh, this is amazing! This is so good! This is interesting! We're looking forward to it." And then as I scrolled up, I realized that they had announced an academy show for the students of QPW. And at that point, I texted Classy Ali immediately, and I asked him that, "Hey, is this gonna be like a show like inside the academy, like in our training academy, where there's probably gonna be no people, but there's just gonna pre-record stuff and then upload it later on YouTube?" And then he told me, "No, this is going to be an actual show. We are going to be performing in front of a crowd. We are going to have our own gear, our entrances, matches, and people are going to be there. We're going to have the spotlight on us." And I was like, whoa, whoa. Like, at that point, I am dying inside. I am so excited, even though I still do not know whether I'm going to be on that show or not, because I've only been training for, let's say, 4 or 5 months, and the rest of these guys are probably training for a year, year and a half. So I don't really know if I'm going to make it to the show or not, but I'm still, convincing myself that I will. And once I get back in Qatar and get back to training for, the remaining period of the time that we have before the show, I might have a chance to get on the show. And so when I take the flight back to Qatar, I come back, I meet the guys in the academy, and we're all still discussing like what the matches are going to be, and we still have like 2 weeks left at that point. And then eventually, without wasting any more time, they're just like, "So here's the match card. It's gonna be like this. We're gonna have Classy Ali versus Tito. We're gonna have Rage versus 1D. We're gonna have Khan versus Shihab, and we're gonna have two international wrestlers who are Tristan Archer and White Eagle in the main event, and that is going to be the first ever QPW Academy Challenge show." And I'm like, okay, I think I can work. I'm really nervous at this point. Like I barely wrestled one match in training, and now I'm getting to do the actual thing, which is in front of an audience. So it's going to be me and Shab in a one-on-one. But here's the catch: whoever has watched that show, whoever's watched that match knows that that was not actually a full one-on-one experience. It wasn't like a 5-10 minutes good wrestling match. It was just 2-3 moves, 2 minutes in the match, and then everybody knows what happens, but we'll get to that. So now during this time period, as I mentioned in the last video, like when I was talking about Mr. Ali, I was talking about the fact that if you pitch ideas to him, he's going to listen to them, but he's only going to go through with them if he feels that they make sense or if it's the right thing to do. Obviously, he's the chairman, he's a promoter, you got to listen. Now, over here, when we were a week away from the show, maybe less than a week, maybe I think 3 days away from the show, and Mr. Ali came to me and Shab, and he was like, "Listen, guys, your match isn't going to be a full match. You're just going to do your entrance. As soon as the bell rings, Big Matt's going to come out, and he's going to take the both of you out. Finish. That's all we want." And I had the courage to go up to him, and prior to that, me and Shab had already, kind of built up a match, and then got to a certain spot, like within those 2 minutes of doing a double down and then having Big Matt interfere. So I approached Mr. Ali with that idea, and I put it in front of him like, this is how it's going to be. Like, we're going to make our entrance. We're going to do the international spot, the basic technical stuff that we have learned, and then we're going to exchange a few moves here and there for our moveset. It's going to be under a 2-minute time limit. And we're going to end it with a double down. It's going to be a double, I think it was a double clothesline. Yeah, it was a double clothesline. And then you can have Big Matt come out after that. So he's like, okay, you know what? You guys can show me what you have planned right now inside this ring, like within the next few minutes. And if I approve it, if I like it, you guys can get through with it. So me and Shihab, literally, we're so nervous, trying to get some bit of spotlight, not just go in there and just get killed by Big Matt. So me and Shihab did that 2-minute spot thingy. Mr. Ali liked it. He said, yeah, like literally, he was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. You know what, you guys can do that. You can add it on the show. And then after you do the double down, we can have Big Matt interfere in your match. And then voila, everybody goes home happy. And we also get that thing through with Big Matt. So now we're on the day of the show. Really actually have a proper wrestling gear. I just put on a pair of military pants, some military black boots. I had my own shirt. I am Revolution. That was actually my very, very first merchandise T-shirt, which I didn't have any other option because I really didn't know what to do for my gear. I was so lost, and I'm pretty sure that everybody has been there. Like all the professional wrestlers that you see today on TV, on the indies, like when they start, everybody just so lost and confused, and that was literally me. And so I just put on that random pair of military jeans, T-shirt, black boots, and I was like, hey, this is my gear, and I got this cool ass jacket, airborne military jacket. I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the show. I'll have my skull mask, which I bought when I was 16, and I'm just going to do this for my entrance. And I was experimenting with a lot of different things. And at that point, I also did not have any specific move set. I just made everything up on the spot a few days before the show just to get into it. And when I came out with my gear, when I was backstage and I put on my gear and I came out, and Tristan Archer was there, and like he looked at me and he was like, and even though there was no exchange of words, and I was like, thank you, I really appreciate that, because that gave me some sort of motivation, some sort of adrenaline to get me going for my first ever wrestling show. And I was just walking back and forth the hallways. I was talking to Shahab, I was talking to Big Matt. And when the time came for me and Shahab to go out there and do our thing, oh boy, I can't even tell you, before I was making my entrance, oh my god, I still remember, if I put myself in that perspective again, I was just like, so this is, let's say this is the entrance, like this whole thing. And your POV is that you're the cameraman that's waiting for me to come out. And I'm behind those curtains, and I'm literally standing like inside. I'm wearing my mask, and I'm looking up and sit down. And, Mr. Ali's there, and everybody's there, and I look at them. I look back at the curtain, and I'm like, take a deep breath. Let's do this. And as my music's playing, and as the beat hits for me to go outside, I'm like, and I just wrap my hands around my back, as you can see on this video that's showing up on your screen right now. And I look here, I look there. By the way, this all wasn't planned. I didn't plan my entrance at all. I didn't practice it one bit. I just went out there and did it on the fly. And then I look around, I do my entrance, I do that killer. I give people the killer vibe, and people actually like it. I heard those, clapping sound, and people going, ooh, okay. We dig that. We like it. And that was like kind of getting me into it when I was stepping inside the ring. And immediately as I go inside the ring, I walk up to Shihab, and also I didn't plan any of that. That was all was happening on the fly. I went up to him and I just, stare him down like, and that was actually very liked by Mr. Ali, because when I went backstage after that match and when the whole video came out of the show, Mr. Ali came up to me on the training day and he was like, Khan, when you went up to Shihab like that, that was really good. That was really good. Back then, I didn't understand what I did, how it was like, what he found so amusing about it. But a few years later, when I when I started training doing seminars, and when I came to US and I trained under proper coaches, that's when I realized that was basically me, going into an actual fight, like creating an illusion of an actual fight, even though we're just out here showing the people like, a sort of theater and entertainment. But I'm trying to show them, I'm trying to give the illusion that I'm going to kick Shahab's ass. And then I understood, like, oh, that's why he liked. That was so amusing. Even though it just came out of nowhere, I just did it out of the blue. I'm glad I did that. So we're going through that match. Me and Shahab do our thing. Everything's perfect. Not perfect. There was a few moments of nervousness, some pauses here and there. Obviously, it's our first match, and we eventually got through with it. Big Matt comes out. He pushes the both of us. He gives Shahab the Uranagi. Then he gives me the Uranagi. Match ends in a no contest, and Big Matt's over. It's a no contest, and we all did our thing, and it was successful. We didn't, let anybody down. There was no heat for doing anything wrong because we didn't do anything wrong, and it was a successful show that day, and I was really happy about it. Even though I was nervous about how I did, I was still very, happy and proud of myself that I actually had my very first wrestling match in front of a crowd. Now, immediately after that show, a few days later, it was decided that we are going to be having a QPW Academy Challenge 2, and it won't be anytime in next year after 5 months, 6 months. It was going to be literally after a month and a few days, which was November 2nd, if I'm not wrong. It was 2nd November 2019. And that show was planned based on what happened on the last show, kind of. But it was just to, start to build up the academy, like try to get into the next level. And for me, at least, I already knew what my position on the card would be, what my match would be, who I'm going to be working with. Obviously, I was going to be working with Shihab and Big Mad once again. And it was going to be Tito versus 1D. It was going to be Rage versus Classy Ellie. And it was going to be the Wonder Kid Johnny Storm versus Jody Fletch, if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right. And it was actually going to be the main event. And so now, when that show was decided, we were also creating post-match and pre-match promos for the first QPW Academy Challenge. The story behind these promos is pretty hilarious. Each and every single one of us had to do those promos in a couple of takes. At least for me, I had to get mine done in 7 takes. Not because of me, but because Shihab was forgetting his lines in every single take. Like, we already knew that he was going to forget his lines, but we obviously knew he was going to forget his lines. We kept that time frame to give him the amount of time to, get through with that promo. And one of the things about that promo was it was very much unscripted. It was supposed to be a scripted promo. We memorized our lines and everything. But then eventually, because of Shihab, we had to, keep it unscripted and let him yap about whatever he wants. And even when he was doing that, he forgot his lines, which is when, at that point, I took over and I started saying all the things that came to my mind at that time, and that would suit my character and that would suit the current story. And then this man, as soon as he remembers his lines, he literally cuts me off.
Could you tell us what happened exactly in the match?
I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
You know what surely sucks for both of us? That there was no clear winner. Especially when I was this close to beat him. Hey, it's okay, we cool, we cool, man. It's okay, we cool, man. Especially that big guy didn't intervene our match.
What this idiot is trying to say is that Big Matt made a very big mistake in interfering in our match. I give less crap about this guy. Yeah, I'm more worried about him because I don't like people interfering in my business. And I usually take care of things myself. But since he wants the both of us...
He's gonna have to get revenge. He's gonna have to get revenge. And we're gonna challenge him in a handicap match.
Okay.
You know what? He reminds me of Hodor. More like his fat bore, He's fat and he's boring. You get it?
No?
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Here we go. We have another challenge.
I was in a shoot. I was in my character. I was trying to show the people that I'm mad about the fact that this guy, I have to work with this guy, and I also get interrupted by him. He was my opponent. I don't like this one bit. I do not like working with him one bit. I do not like fighting him. I do not want to waste my time with him. I had him before Big Matt interrupted my business, and now he interrupts me during a promo. Like, character-wise, kayfabe-wise, that isn't going to sit well with me. And so, after we had a few takes, we got to that promo successfully. We uploaded it. Turns out it was actually the best promo, post-match promo of that show. Everybody absolutely loved it. When I was watching that promo again, when somebody said in the group, everybody was in the group chat like, yo, this is the most hilarious promo we've ever seen. Yo, this is the best promo of the night. And at that point, I realized how, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mistakes lead to something great. Like, not everything has to be perfect to, get you into the spotlight. Not everything has to be picture perfect according to the way you plan to get over. Sometimes your mistake are your greatest blessing. And that's what happened at that time. Our promo was the promo of the night. And so now we are preparing for QPW Academy Challenge 2, a handicap match where me and Shab are going to be facing Big Bad, as I said earlier. And I already knew that match wasn't going to be like a fight. It wasn't going to be back and forth. It's going to be me and Shahab taking all the beating in the world. Mostly Shahab. I was just there, existing, breathing. And that night, Shahab took a lot of bumps. The one thing that I have to give credit to him for is the fact that he took insane amount of bumps from Big Man that night. And then he also, after the match, took a huge claymore from me. And because we were opening the show, I was the first guy out there, and I was really hyped up. And even though I was hyped up, my body language was a bit awkward. As I said, I've always been an introvert. I had a hard time getting out of my comfort zone and opening up my body language to convey messages, to talk with people, or to, as a matter of fact, interact with people. Especially in a wrestling show, you have to interact with the crowd, and if you're not doing that, you're basically non-existent to them. You're just a stale personality over there. And as you can see in my entrance, I feel like that I'm too broad and opened up, but when I saw the video again, I was like, yeah, I was a bit awkward, and I was a bit nervous, like always, and I just had a very tight composure with my body, and obviously, like everybody knew that obviously it's a new thing, we're all rookies, things happen, we're gonna learn from our mistakes, which we eventually did in the years to come, and when we were done with that entrance, and I'm just trying to like stay in my character. I'm trying to play my character because I'm still lost on what my character is, so I'm just trying to play whatever comes to mind. Smile on my face, which I'm showing it to the audience, but then I'm also trying to keep a composure where I hate Shihab so much that him standing beside me is disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm supposed to be the babyface. I'm supposed to like absolutely, not turn on Shihab because he already turned on me when the match began. And it was decided that they wanted to build me up as a babyface and Shahab as a heel. But eventually it turned around because we didn't understand ring psychology, story psychology at that point. And me claymoring Shahab after the match got me boos instead of being cheered. And at that point, when it wasn't decided that I was going to be a heel, I eventually indirectly turned heel for the people, and I just got booed out of the building. People were just booing me. Like, they didn't want none of me. And Shahab was the one who was getting a standing ovation. Even though he left me for dead against Big Matt, he tried to escape every chance he got. But in the end, when I tried to, beat some sense into him, being a good guy, I'm immediately the bad guy. So I didn't know how that made sense. Maybe it was an error on our psychology part, or whatever that was. But it was an experience then again. Like, it wasn't like I was mad about the fact that we couldn't get it done how we wanted to. We got through the show. We made a point. I came out as a heel, fine. I'll be the heel at the next show, which we didn't have eventually because, COVID happened, shit happened. So we didn't really have that match or that specific heel turn in QPW. And that's how basically the story played out. And what we originally had planned, if we ever had an extra, if COVID never happened, either before SuperSlam or after SuperSlam, was it was a really stupid idea that got through. But since I was new, I didn't have any say in it. For the next show, they had originally planned that it was going to be me versus Big Mad, and I'm going to lose against Big Mad, and then Shihab is going to come out challenge Big Mad at the same time, and he's going to lose again as well. And they were trying to build Big Mad as this humongous monster, which is fair. It's fair. Big Mad is a huge guy in real life, and it would be only fair enough for him to have that sort of spotlight. But it didn't make sense for me or Shihab at that point, especially for me, because at this point I'm just, I don't know what I'm supposed to. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Like, I'm getting thrown in the fire against Big Mad every path of the road, and I don't know how to get out of this situation, because at this point he's just destroying us. He's just mauling us. It's not helping us out one bit. We're having like 2-3 minute matches with Big Mad, and he's the one that's going over. People really don't care when small guys. Not really small, but small compared to Big Man. We're small guys getting beat up. They get no reaction whatsoever. They get no sympathy. People love seeing big dudes maul small guys. It is the world, unfortunately. People love that, and they'll obviously cheer for the bigger guy, even though he's a heel. But I feel like that wasn't going to help me one bit if we went through with that. And at that time, I think Mr. Ali, even though he was putting the shows together, the actual booker was somebody else within the academy who had just trained in wrestling, but he wasn't wrestling. Like, he was just coming to training, and he obviously had some bit of basic experience. But for some reason, known to God, he was the one that was booking the shows, and for some reason he despised me and Shab, and that's why he was putting us in situations like that where we just get our ass kicked and we're just looked at as jobbers. And it was actually true that they looked at me and Shihab. I'm not going to talk about Shihab. It's his own experience. I'm going to talk about myself, at least. There were certain people in the academy that looked at me as a jobber, and that booker was one of them. Obviously, I'm not going to name drop him anymore here because he doesn't wrestle or he's in part of the academy in any way whatsoever. And when I realized that, I personally couldn't do anything about it at that point because, what am I going to complain about? Like, I'm still a rookie. I still need training to get to that point where I can deliver proper 10, 15-minute matches where I have a good character, a good composure, good body language, good, in-ring psychology, even though none of us had that, but it is what it is. I was just too new and too excited to be saying no to opportunities, even though I would say they were unnecessary, hateful way of putting, someone in a position where he can't fight out of it. Like, he has to do it or there's no other way for him. And I'm glad that we didn't go with that plan. I'm still happy about it today. Eventually how things worked out later, that's a different story, but I'm glad that I managed to escape that line that I was going to fall into. Had I gone through with it, I would have probably been a certified jobber of QPW. And I didn't want that. Even though I don't mind putting people over, I don't mind, doing the job, but I do not appreciate people putting me in that situation just because they hate me. That's a fact. And that's how we got through with the first QPW Academy Challenge and the second QPW Academy Challenge. And now, a few months later, we were set for the biggest stage, for the grandest stage in the Middle East of wrestling at this point. It was QPW SuperSlam 2. And SuperSlam was the WrestleMania of the Middle East, and this event is now a few months away from happening in Doha, Qatar, and we are all excited, but we're all hyped for it. And I'm going to be talking about that event in my next video, so stay tuned. If you like this video, if you got this far, subscribe, like, share if you want to, and I will be seeing you in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Your boy Khan the Anarchist, heading out now.